Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show where after the collision, we sift through
the wreckage.
The Wreckage. I am your host, Jimmy T. He is the best in the world, and my co-host, Jamie the Vet Williams. And we are live on Humming Media Group's YouTube channel and, of course, channelattitude.com after the fact. And Vet, sorry about the late one, man, but shit happens when it comes to the internet, dude.
Yeah, it sure does. I mean, I just had to be on customer service with my internet for several times longer than it should have taken because they always give you the runaround whenever you try to get anything done. They patch you through to 3 different people before they just patch you to the person that they should have patched you to the first time to fix the problem that they could have fixed in 1 second by pressing a button. But instead you got to deal with all the bots that are trying to pretend that they're human because people want to use their AI tools and everything like that. But that's neither here nor there, Jimmy. We're here now. We may be late. Better late than never. But we can get through this just like AEW was able to get through their 2 shows. The Fantasticamania. Oh, we're not even going to cover that. There was more shenanigans over there on a separate show, but yeah.
Well, before we get into things, I just want to say J12 with the $1.99 super sticker. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate it. I'm not going to read all that in Spanish. I know you're saying something Espanol, but
he said, yeah, he's saying, He's like, do you guys speak better Spanish than the gringo cowboy?
Oh, wow.
And the answer is,
wow.
You know, por supuesto.
Well, hey, dude, I'm not going to lie. That actually kind of impressed me. I mean, shit. I mean, but even though he sounded like a typical white guy sort of talking Spanish, he was talking Spanish, just he didn't get the accent down pat, if you know what I mean.
You can't get an English accent down either, so.
That's true. I mean, shit. But still, nevertheless, I was impressed that he does speak Spanish. And I think it had to do with he grew up on a farm or some shit. And that's why he knows how to speak Spanish really well, because a lot of the workers were Spanish or some shit.
Yeah, I suppose the Virginias could have a huge population.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was a big Latino population, but I guess I'm wrong. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But anyway, Vet.
Labra said he sounded like Peggy Hill speaking Spanish.
You know what, man? It's been a bit of a slow week in the news. I mean, other than I will say this, apparently it is true, Vet. The Beast, should I say? Wait a minute, let me get to that. The Beast Mortos is with Moné, apparently. Apparently they are an item. I mean, she confirmed it on TMZ.
Confirmed it on TMZ? Isn't that the same place that supposedly broke it?
Well, yeah, apparently so. I don't know. I mean, shit, it's hard to believe. Look, I don't know what he looks like under the mask. He must be, I mean, he must be good enough for Moné, I guess. But, I mean, shit. Good on him. I'm happy for him.
Sure.
But as far as other news goes, man, I mean, really, do you care to even talk about Seth Rollins and CM Punk having an altercation at the Fanatics Fest? I mean, that's what's hitting the headlines. Everything else, and other than Dynamite, of course, breaking their ratings record by quite a bit, actually, for 2025. I mean, they're up to 700 and something thousand viewers this week.
It's not even that much.
An extra 200,000 eyeballs. I mean, it's all right.
200?
Yeah.
They've been doing 6s.
Okay, well, then an extra 100 and something thousand. Then when you put it like that, it's not that much. But they were averaging pretty much around the 500s, like, generally.
I guess. To me, it's all like, it's incremental. Like a few thousand people here or there does not make a difference. It's just who left their TV on when they're, after they were done eating dinner. That's it.
You're a character, man. everything else is just really superficial, man. There's not really, I mean, I don't even know who this guy is, but I guess you do because he's a TNA guy. But apparently Jason Hodge signs a new contract with TNA.
What the fuck? Great.
That's your news, bro. No shit. There is absolutely.
That's really it? Like there ain't nothing else? God.
I mean, there's a rumor killer on Hulk Hogan's house scare. I mean, I'm sure you heard about that with Bubba the Love Sponge, who apparently was saying that Hogan was in dire straits and pretty much on his deathbed. But then Hogan came out and said, he's wrong, brother.
Crazy. Yeah, I don't know.
And also, I guess Liv Morgan's dislocated shoulder and she'll be out for 6 months. Do you have anything to say about that?
I mean, she could be out of wrestling for 6 months, but she needs to be back long before that. Because let's face it, nobody wants to see Liv Morgan wrestle. That's not the reason why we watch her on television. So I definitely think that it should not take the 6 months off, but sometimes WWE's like that. I can't tell what, like for example, when Punk got hurt, he didn't go anywhere really.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
But then other people just disappear. So I don't know, but hopefully I doubt she'll be gone for 6 months.
Also, Vet, how do you feel about Goldberg's return to WWE and of course facing Gunther? Surely we're not going to get a new champion come Saturday night's main event, right?
I don't even know. I didn't even think about it, but I was listening to Cornette earlier explain the whole situation, and he made the point of like, well, they didn't say it was for the belt, did they? And even if they did or they didn't, does it have to be? Like, why we just assume that some guy could walk in and get a title shot? I mean, if he wants to fight, because the whole point was that he got embarrassed in his hometown last time or whatever, I guess, or like in front of his son. So he wants revenge for that.
Right.
Why does he get a title shot just because of that? Why would he? Who would just get a title shot just walking in like that? And wouldn't the character of Gunther say, you don't deserve a title shot? And then he could say, well, okay, I'll fight you for non-title, whatever. It's just, they don't need to do it. But you can't, putting the belt on him would be a horrible idea because it's just not believable. He could barely walk. You could see Goldberg barely walk to the ring. He took longer to get up to the top rope than like Commander does, like when he's trying to get his balance for running across the top rope on somebody, and he was just supposed to stand there in the corner and look at Gunther, and he could barely do that. So do you really want to see this guy in the ring? Do you really want to put a belt on him? Like, why do they keep acting like they owe this guy something?
That's a great point. Even I'm puzzled considering that Vince is not there anymore, right? I mean, it was always apparently Vince that was bringing him back, but
if Vince wanted him to do all that stuff, why didn't he do it back in 2004 when he was healthy? You know what I'm saying? Like this whole, I'm just so, I'm done with everybody.
I know, but you're right. It feels like 20 years too late anyway. Who gives a shit? I don't care. But you know what? When you brought up Gunther, you know what, man? I'll be honest with you. He kind of looked like he was marking out, bro. I'm not going to lie.
I doubt it. I don't think he cares one way or the other. But he's kind of, he's a professional, so he's going to do the best he can. But no matter what he does in the ring, it's the creative that people are going to remember. Like, if this match sucks, no one will remember it other than they'll be like, yeah, it sucked. Just like they talk about every single match Goldberg has had since he's been, ever in wrestling. But if the match is good, no one's going to really remember that either. It's going to probably be short because it has to be. But right. Either way, they're only going to remember, like, if they, whether they beat Goldberg in his hometown in a possibly last match, or if they put the belt on him. That's what they'll remember from this. So it's up to the WWE to make the right booking decision, which is to put Goldberg on his back where he belongs, especially if it is his last match. You can't be winning your last match, So
I agree.
so yeah, so like that's the decision that needs to be made. As far as what happens in the match, that's less important. Like what happens in the ropes, you know.
What I think will happen though, don't be surprised if Goldberg does win, but Seth cashes in or something like that. Someone, you know what I mean? I feel like he'll lose it right then and there if he
That's
does
an easy
win.
way to do it.
Right. That's what I think. That way it's sort of, everyone saves face kind of thing. If they go that route, we'll see. I don't even want to see the damn match, but it is what it is. And that's what we're getting, unfortunately, for Saturday night's main event. On the night of also All In, right? I believe they're going not head to head, but on the same day.
Hey, all right.
Yeah. Well, look forward to that, I guess. Everything else, Vet, is just super. I mean, really, there's not much to talk about, dude. I guess, and I don't even believe this anymore, but SmackDown reportedly expected to return to a 2-hour show in August.
You could tell they need it.
That's an understatement. But even then, I still don't believe it.
Oh, I know what we could talk about.
Oh, please.
You guys did the Smack Attack yesterday. I wasn't able to catch it, but you and the professor doing your thing. Before I even saw it, I saw people putting over the John Cena promo.
Oh, yeah.
Like on social media.
Yeah. I'd love to know your thoughts on that, actually.
Well, I just didn't, like, when I watched it, I was like, oh, well, this is the bare minimum. I don't see what's so noteworthy about it. You could even the crowd was like, they didn't give a shit at anything. The only time they ever popped is when John Cena referred to himself as the greatest, and then they cheered for him because they did. But every time that he tried to, drop one of the pipe bombs or whatever, they were like, oh, it was like half-hearted, like maybe, I don't know, let's say it would be generous to say a fifth of the arena understood what he was talking about.
See, I was thinking that too at one point. I was thinking, do you think that fan base that was in attendance, do they even remember the damn, pipe bomb from 2011, you think?
No, well, I mean, even if they did, but like a lot of the stuff he's referencing, they probably don't know.
Like Claudia Castagnoli, for example.
Right. Like this is for the the kind of people that make up the whole AEW crowd. It's like that's the only people that's going to really reference this. But then again, nothing he said was that like venomous. Shocking. Or
right.
Yeah, it was just like it was still just the same old John Cena shit. So I don't know what everybody loved about it. I mean, I thought what it was good. I'll tell you what was horrible. How long was CM Punk just laying there in the table? Have to listen to that shit. Like I would have started getting up and crawling over. I would have been like, kick me some more, because I can't sit here for this, for the length of the 10 Commandments starring Charlton Heston. I can't just lay here while you boringly say like the most basic vanilla shit. It's like you made him look like a total asshole. So
and
everybody like around. think of what people kick out of in wrestling, and then he has to sit there and just listen to that. It's amazing.
Well, and it went for a good 20 minutes, it felt like. So yeah, and he was there like moving around kind of thing, but just sitting there still. But look, I get it. It was shocking because, he pretty much rehashed the pipe bomb that CM Punk did, back in 2011, just in his own way, if you know what I mean. And he swore, bro. He cursed, as like he said himself. It's shocking. Whoa. But I will say this. I didn't hate it. And I do think it was probably his best work that he's done so far as a heel, though. I'll give him that. Because everything else doesn't seem as... You don't think so? Okay.
No, because number one, the breakup promos were better. The first two he did when he came back. Because he actually tried his best to explain it in a way that half-ass was different and tried to make sense. Whether it did or not is up to you, but he tried. And I thought he did a better job with that. Then, everything from then, he's trying to be like the pipe bomb, and the people are starting to cheer for it. So, again, what's the best way to be a babyface in 2025?
Be that cool heel, right? I mean,
right. So they didn't like him whining like a jilted lover, but as soon as he started trying to tear down his opponents, the people are getting with it. Even though there was half-assed, the stuff he was saying about Punk was half-assed, and the people were giving half-assed pops for it, they were still trying to pop. You know what I mean? Like, they were clearly cheering for John Cena. So that's not what you want as a heel, if that's what you're going for. No heel wants to hear people cheering for them if they care about their job. If you're just collecting a paycheck, then yeah, I guess you want people to actually cheer for you. But if you're trying to get people upset, you need to do it like Ricochet does when the guy with the lawsuit comes out and then he says, like, we live in a world of pussies, and then deletes the tweet. Like, all that just looks like genius to me. And then the people that actually are trying to roast Ricochet for doing that are all getting worked by him. That's how you be a heel. That's how you be an actual heel in 2025. And John Cena's out here talking about, I don't even remember the stuff he said already, and I just watched it yesterday. So
he's just basically saying, for example, you call yourself, and he's talking about CM Punk, you call yourself the best in the world when I am the greatest of all time. Like, you know what I mean?
Get the fuck out of here.
He did that, and we heard this. Literally. So that's basically what he was saying. And, yeah, and he cursed, he kicked the fourth wall down, like T and Cooper said in the chat.
Right. Yeah, and, which that was a direct reference to the pipe bomb.
Right. I mean, shit. That's why, you know, Claudio Castagnoli after that. And then what was the other name he mentioned? I forgot it already. But he mentioned three names. Oh, yeah. Ziggler is in Nick Nemeth. And there was one more that I just can't remember right now, but it'll come back to me.
Why do you mention Nick Nemeth when it was his brother?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think he made the reference to Castagnoli because the night of the pipe bomb. Oh yeah, Cardona. Thank you, Kenny. It was Cardona that he mentioned too. That's right. How do I forget that? But as far as Castagnoli goes, wasn't during the pipe bomb? Didn't one of them face Castagnoli when all that shit went down?
Mm.
And I think that was what the reference was. So, yeah, it didn't mean nothing to me. Really, that part didn't mean shit. He's just trying to get the ooh-ahs out. And there was a little bit of a gasp, you know, in the crowd, but it was very slight. And that's about it.
It was slight. Yeah, that's what I mean. Because most people are just like, I don't know. So.
You know what? Cold-Blooded actually makes a great point. He said he would have even had to say McMahon, just hi, Vince. That would have been much more of a pipe bomb, actually, if he did do that. Because the crowd really would have, like, whoa, you know, for mentioning Vince McMahon. But he didn't, unfortunately. And that's that, pretty much.
Yeah, no balls, you know. And that's fine if you have no balls. But it's not Cena that I'm really having a problem with, because this is just what I would expect. But just the idea that I saw people saying, like, this is the best Cena promo ever, or this is the best Cena.
Saying that.
Look, even if it was his best promo ever, that just means that he hasn't had that many good promos then. Because a lot of his promos are he just sounds like a Baptist preacher when he comes out, and he sounds like Big E. Like, he sounds like Big E talking when he does his promos. He's always got that same cadence where he fires up in the same way.
You did that perfect. No shit.
Yeah.
That was perfect the way you did that. And you're right. But also, it comes across as fake, dude. Like, I don't believe it coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he is fake. But he could be real enough, or even like a fake version of real. But whatever it is, it's just the bare minimum. But it's not him that I have the issue with. It's just everybody praising it. Like, I don't know. I'm just fed up with everybody. So it's gonna be one of those days today.
I don't blame you. One more thing, and it's not a big deal, but Conan, was saying about WWE's Endgame for AAA, and apparently it's to
Endgame?
get a
The Endgame is they close it? What, like?
Well, apparently the Endgame is to get a US TV deal. Is that even possible?
It's possible. There's a lot of TV stations in the United States.
Right.
Several hundred, actually.
But I'm not talking about any like Spanish related channels, for example. I'm talking about decently mainstream channels, say.
Good luck.
That's what I mean. Because I can see it on, Telemundo or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Not on, like I say, USA Network or even on a CW. You know what I mean? Or a TNT, TBS. I'm not expecting those, but I'm talking about, say, second sort of tier channels. Is there even a chance to get on there?
CW?
Well, yeah, that's a second tier channel, definitely.
Let's do it.
Is that even a possibility, though? Or you think even then, probably no chance?
I mean, anything's a possibility. That's the thing. That's the thing about possibilities. They're possible. Likely, different.
That's
I don't
true.
know. It's like, think about this. Think about how long it was that supposedly WWE was shopping themselves around. And that's
True.
WWE.
Right.
So you're going to have to really sell somebody on AAA for a mainstream deal, because the WWE's barely mainstream. You got NXT on fucking CW, right? And they're pulling the same numbers as Dynamite on cable. Then you got SmackDown on USA doing the same numbers that Raw was doing and declining. Pretty soon they'll be under 1 million. That's like in the next year, or maybe even 2. They might hold on a little bit. They'll be under 1 million because people are just fed up with cable and they're getting rid of it since everything's on streaming anyway. And Raw is on Netflix, which is a streamer and not TV. So now anybody's prospect of getting a major TV deal, if WWE is at this point where they're not on a major network except for NBC for Saturday Night's Main Event, because that's Peacock's thing and they have a deal with that.
Right.
But that's only just for specials. It's not like they have to be on there weekly. So I'm just saying, good luck.
Put it when you put it like that. I mean,
buena suerte.
Wow. Yeah. Well, apparently that's the end game according to Conan. Personally, I think it's probably to call it NXT Mexico eventually, but I don't know, man. I can just see them doing that in the long run eventually.
Wait.
But I will say this.
Wait.
Sorry.
Frank has a good question. And it has nothing to do with sex for a change. Well, I think maybe he thinks it does, but anyway, I'll read it. He says, why wouldn't they get TV? They work with mega Hollyweird top executives. Yes. However, don't forget, Frank, that as weird as Hollywood is, they still consider themselves legitimate entertainment. And pro wrestling is still that other bullshit that's beneath us. Like, a lot of people don't want anything to do with pro wrestling still.
That's
like
true.
It just because, you see people hobnobbing with mainstream stars and athletes and stuff like that. But in Hollywood itself, wrestling is like a dark cloud. Like, it's a stink. Like, if people find out that you had something to do with it, it's like, you did that.
Especially
it's still
back
like
in the day,
that.
Right.
Don't be fooled by anything that's going on now. It may be better than it was because you've had more people that's grown up with the Attitude Era and that kind of stuff in positions of power now. But in general, overall, it's still like the bottom of the entertainment barrel. And it's because of shit like when you turn on some of these outlaw shows, you see stuff and they think of they see the dumbest stuff in pro wrestling and they think that's what the WWE still is. They don't know because they don't watch any of it. So when you say WWE, all they hear is wrestling and they're like, no, thank you. That's why did Time Warner drop WCW off their fucking network? It wasn't because they weren't doing good enough.
Right, exactly, because they were still doing great ratings compared to today's standards anyway. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
that's why they're in that middle ground.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with how weird Hollywood is. They still think their weird is a more elite than pro wrestling weird. It's the same thing of like, you go to like, if Hollywood is Las Vegas, right? You think about that. You think of Las Vegas as the entertainment capital of the world, right? Like,
right. Absolutely.
That's it. The whole city is just for entertainment, whatever it is, gambling, concerts, whatever, anything.
Right.
And then you think of wrestling is that the carnival in the parking lot of the grocery store. Like, you ain't Las Vegas. You're a carnival in the parking lot. You're not even a full state fair. You're the fucking carnival. So get out of here.
Boy.
You don't belong here. That's still the relationship.
Well, yeah, that's why he can't win any like TV related awards or even sports related awards, even though sports is kind of embraced pro wrestling more or a lot more compared to Hollywood, obviously. Mm-hmm. But even then, it's still in that sort of gray area. Like, is it a sport? Is it entertainment? Either way, you're right. It's always been that bad stepchild. It's not even a stepchild. You know, Hollywood doesn't even look at it as the same thing, even though you very much act right on pro wrestling and shit like that. But I think the thing is, wrestling in general tries to present itself too much as a live sport, though, if you know what I mean. And I think that's also
see, that's the problem. People think it's not, but it is.
I think it is, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah,
I agree
and
with that.
That's how you get more acceptance, because if you're trying to dip your toes into just being a bad TV show, that's not going to make Hollywood like you more.
Right.
So agree. I don't look, put it another way. I'll get another perspective, right? Like, we keep hearing, go ahead and prove me wrong. We keep hearing that Roman Reigns is going to go to Hollywood or something, right?
Well, yeah.
Like, don't we keep hearing rumors of that? Oh,
sure,
Roman Reigns going to. What have you seen? He had a cameo in Hobbs and Shaw. What else has Roman Reigns even touched?
Nothing really after that.
Exactly.
I mean,
so
I know people are assuming, and you know what? I'm going to say one thing about that. Do you think Batista is overhyped as a Hollywood actor?
No. Batista's probably the best ever actor that used to be a wrestler, but he's now, like, I see him doing movies though where he's kind of taking the
main role.
He's doing what The Rock did for a long time, where he's right now, like, he's too big to be doing what he's doing now, because now he's taking the lead role in shitty films that he shouldn't take, because he's already been in Disney movies and Marvel movies, you know, and like major pictures like, you know, Dune or whatever else he's been in, James Bond, you know, like he's been in those type of movies. So now he should not be taking the lead in movies that are like shitty, you know, like when Dwayne Johnson's doing like Skyscraper for no reason, you know, like Batista should not be doing that. He should continue to work with like good productions and good actors and stuff, even if it's not a main part.
Right.
But I was looking at his upcoming slate of stuff, and it's like, ugh, ain't nobody gonna watch this. Yeah.
That's not cool. But you know what? Sometimes you got to take that shit. It is what it is. I still also want to thank Labrat, by the way, for the $5 super sticker saying "Get the muffins" for you, I guess.
Yes, thank you very much.
So thank you for that.
There is a standby muffin, but it's really not a muffin kind of day. I'm just more like in the mood to be hot, if that makes sense.
I like it when you're like this too at times, Vet, to be honest with you, man. Labrat says allegedly Roman is casted in the new Street Fighter movie.
No, he isn't.
That's allegedly.
Nobody's casting it. That's just rumors that's been going around.
Yeah, who's he going to be? Vega? Imagine that.
Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns could play. Yeah, honestly, I don't see a character for him.
That's why I said Vega, dude. No, for real. What was he going to be? Zangief?
Yeah, no. No, Braun Strowman wants to do that.
I can see he actually, you know what, dude? I think he'd be good for that part. I mean, he's got that kind of Zangief look, right?
As long as he gets an actual mohawk and not that ponytail mohawk that he had in the Wyatt family.
E Honda. If Jericho was around, he would have been E Honda. I mean, it's easy to say.
What if
right?
Roman just got fat and was E Honda? That'd be awesome.
Hey, dude, he's Samoan. There's every chance that he could get fat when he stops training because it's just in their genetics, dude. The second they stop training, I'm telling you, man, they just put on weight. But Gruss says Akuma Jimmy T. Nah. I mean, gross. I get it, but he wouldn't be able to fight like an Akuma, dude. There's no way. Like, well, also,
he's not Japanese, and don't they like to cast people what they are now so that everyone doesn't get mad?
Well, that's true too. Even though at times they still do weird shit, but I don't know. People are just weird anyway. Let's be real. I mean, humans just.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, should we just go right into the Grand Slam Mexico?
I think it's time we sift through the Grand Slam because that was the news. There is nothing really more to really talk about that's even meaningful, dude. Honestly, so time we put our gloves on. Because for me, this felt like kind of like a house show, dude. But in a good way.
You think?
Yeah. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah. All right, Grand Slam Mexico. We get Hank Person to open up the show. Of course, we already touched on the fact that he did his entire promo in Spanish. Very nice.
I believe that. Very nice. Even though it was very white boy nice, but still he did it. He pulled it off.
Good job. Everybody fired up, so that's the point. Like, I can't hate on it. It's like, why would I hate on it? You all know I'm not a fan of this guy. Not what I know of him, and not certainly as a performer. So I don't give a shit about Adam Page, but the people in that building did. And so that's what counted. Dude.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that means job well done. Good segment. And then they follow that up with a 14-man tag.
I love those.
Do you? Because have you ever seen one before? I haven't.
I don't think I have, no. Until now.
Even that Survivor Series 87 didn't have this many people, it felt like. They did, but,
They had, every match was pretty brutal.
It was like 20-man. It was like a 20-man tag, I think. But
dude, even as a kid, and I watched that during that time, like that year, I hated the Survivor Series originally. Like, it just used to drain me even as a kid, dude, until much later on.
Yeah. Well, I did notice this, because let's face it, did anybody care about anything that happened in this ring? I'm asking the chat. I'm asking Jimmy, anybody that wants to chime in. Does anybody care about what actually happened? Because number one, I didn't pay attention. Number two, I didn't need to pay attention because what I saw was exactly the same thing I was going to see for the next 2 hours anyways. So
it's too much, dude. Like, and I get it. They're trying to sort of cater to the crowd, because it was very lucha-esque in many ways. But yeah, I mean, how are you supposed to pay attention to a match like this? Really, it's hard, dude. And like I was just saying, even as a little kid, I couldn't even pay attention to matches like that, let alone now as an adult. So yeah, like for me, I can't, dude. I just can't get into matches like this.
Okay. So then we'll focus on what the takeaways were. Adam Cole was over. Like, that whole place was like, they did the boom and the baby and everything. So they were definitely aware of Adam Cole and everything like that. And it wasn't like half-ass people like the people popping for John Cena's promo. It was the full house. Like, however many people were in Arena Mexico all said boom at the same time. They didn't need to be told either. Because right when he came out, just seeing his music or whatever, that whole place blew. So
I don't believe that.
Adam Cole is over in Mexico, I guess. I didn't know that.
But who would have thought, though, honestly? And I'm impressed that they even know all that.
I mean, they probably, even if all they did was watch one episode of AEW right before when they found out that they were going to be coming to town, just so they could see everybody once, That's all they need to see. It's very easy to remember. Boom and Bebe. That's all they got to know, and they did, and they liked it.
That's crazy, man. I would have never thought, but yeah, he was over, man, for sure.
Yep. The finish came when Atlantis small packaged Hollywood Axe the Axe Axon.
Of course.
So retribution for all that bullshit that FTR put him and his son through, a small package. That'll teach you. That'll teach you, Axe.
Yeah, see, I don't even know what
you got beat. I guess that is more insulting, right? Because he got beat with a wrestling move, and he should have been able to counter it, but he can't even counter it, so he's just weak. And Atlantis is like 60 something, and you couldn't kick out of a 60-year-old man small package. So I guess that is kind of like the equivalent of taking a guy's finisher and him putting his foot on your chest, right?
Well, yeah, it is essentially. You might as well be buried the same way.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying they buried him, but you know.
Yeah, these guys have been under the ground for years. There's nothing else you could, you would have to dig them up to bury them.
Jesus.
That's how bad they are.
That's.
I hope the professor's watching. What's the professor doing right now?
He might be here.
So we got a package on Omega and Okada, not the old stuff like before, the stuff that just happened with all the Jello spewing.
The Jello spewing. I still can't get over that. That is just shocking, dude. And they had to show us again.
Yeah, and Mark Briscoe came out, and apparently he cut a promo at some point where he said that, Kenny Omega's his friend and he's got his back, and he challenges Okada to a match. Okay, so here we go. It's Mark Briscoe versus Okada in a singles match on Dynamite, AEW Mexico Grand Slam Arriba.
Ole.
Yeah. And
it was a good match, dude. Actually, I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good enough, but for these guys,
could have been better.
Actually not, not up to my standards.
Look, it wasn't, but like I said, it was refreshing considering we had quite a few tag team matches, and kind of most of the night I felt like a lot of the matches were slow, dude, except for one particular tag team match, and we'll get to that. But everything was kind of done differently at Arena Mexico, I felt like, than usual.
Yeah. Well, and so again, Okada was over because Okada is known in Mexico, so he,
absolutely,
they were, even though he's supposed to be a despicable heel, they don't care. They're just going to cheer for him. I mean, they cheer for Mark Briscoe sometimes because Okada was trying to turn him, but mostly they, before the match, just in his entrance, they popped and they were chanting his name and stuff. So it was kind of like not the effect that you want, but that's what happens. Like usually in these cases, the crowd defaults to who they know. Right.
Right.
So,
and plus, even though like Okada is he's gotten to the point now, he's earned that respect too, man. Where even if he's a heel or babyface, he's sort of always going to get cheered now, man.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed about not just this match, but like this is where I first noticed it, but it happened a few times. The ring is different. Like it had AEW stuff on it, but the ring was different. Like the bottom rope is so close to the ground that people were struggling to roll under it.
I didn't notice that, actually.
Really?
That's interesting.
Because in this match, Okada goes for his patented powder to start the match, and he got stuck in the ropes because it was so low. Like, he wasn't ready for the rope to be that low, and this happened to, like, 2 or 3 other people throughout. Anybody that tried to, like, roll under the bottom rope or slide out or something, like, that bottom rope was really low. Because, obviously, the average height of the Mexican wrestlers is lower, and also, it's just, I guess for what they do, they probably don't slide out of the ring that much. So it never ends up being
over the ropes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, maybe there is something to it. I mean, it did look like the AEW ring essentially. But
well, it's it just had the decorations, but the ring was not the same.
That's an interesting point. That's actually a great point out, actually, Vet, that you pointed that out, because makes me want to look back on it now and just pay more attention to that bottom rope, because it didn't seem like it to me at first. But like I said, I want to check that out again.
Yep. So, like I said, subpar match for these guys. They could do much better, but whatever. And then after Okada, of course, wins, they do a post-match belt beating where they're just beating up Mark Briscoe, because you can't just win a match and leave. You got to beat people up. And the people were chanting for Omega, but he wasn't there, so he didn't come out. So they just beat up Mark Briscoe with the belt as sore winners and then left him.
Yeah, wasn't he advertised to be there, though?
Not that I recall.
I thought he was, dude. I could have sworn he was, but I guess...
Well, I mean, they wrote him off TV, so...
That's true. That's true. And that would have been for that reason, more than likely, for whatever reason why he can't compete in Mexico at this time. But anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, poor Mark Briscoe, TN couponer. That's, just another L for him, but whatever. I mean, he's going to stay over, but come on. You don't have to do this to him. You could do this to other... There's plenty of people you could job out, okay? You don't... Whatever. Anyway, so this could be considered one of the centerpieces of the show. MJF versus Místico, because for several reasons. Number one, this was definitely a match that was built to on TV, such as it was. Not that they did a good job, but they did do a job.
It was a bad job though, but yeah.
They did the bare, like the John Cena promo, the bare minimum. Right. The bare minimum.
But it was a compelling match in some ways.
Yes, in some ways. Let's try to figure out what those ways were. So, obviously, MJF comes out fully American. He's basically Chad Gable. Comes out.
That annoyed me straight off the bat, dude. That annoyed me because I thought of Grande, Americano straight away, just without the mask. Plus, it just doesn't suit MJF to be this guy. Do you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. I don't disagree. I don't really agree. I see both sides of it. Like, I understand your point, but I also seen MJF do this in the past where he just brings out America as like anytime he wants to face a foreign person, and because he's full of shit, that's supposed to get him more heat. So it works in that sense, because exactly what you're saying. You're saying it.
I said that too.
Yeah, you're saying it as an analyst of like, this isn't you. But if wrestling was real, that's exactly what a fan would be saying. Like, that's not you. You don't care about America. That's heat. So
right. No, you're right. It's true.
So it makes sense because he's done it before. And then you got Místico, who obviously we know is the biggest draw in Mexico right now. He's the biggest star in Mexico right now. He's a legend, the living legend. So even though he's a little old and a little fat, he's still going to be over because
anymore, bro, like he used to. No way.
Right. I mean, some of the stuff like when he jumps up, when he gets up on the top and does the springboard crossbody, that still looks tight. But
yeah, but
it's just a lot of other things that, but that's muscle memory. He can do that. So this was the second. Oh, by the way, MJF was the second guy that couldn't roll out of the ring under the bottom rope because he didn't know how low it was. But, but yeah, the entrance though, that's the thing. Like, Místico made the entrance, and I heard about this. Like, I heard he had a cool entrance or whatever, and we haven't seen it. Not on AEW,
dude.
Yeah, and then he comes out and like the whole crowd's singing and everything, and it's like a big deal or whatever. And all this stuff, and it was a cool moment and everything. As I'm watching it, I'm like, it's a cool moment. But personally, for me, when I heard that song, I was like, oh god, this is not a wrestling entrance theme, not by any stretch.
I know, but it is Mexico. They do things a little differently, man. And like, I won't lie, man, CMLL comes across as way more lucha, even compared to AAA. Like, I feel like AAA.
Well, this is traditional stuff.
Right, this is very traditional, exactly. That's, I guess, the word I'm looking for. Whereas AAA is not as traditional to me compared to CMLL.
World's oldest wrestling promotion, right?
That's true, too, yeah. That's a fact. Apparently
100 and some odd years now, what? 1905
over 100 years,
something? I don't know.
It is over 100 years, but that's crazy, dude, that a promotion can be around for that long, you know what I mean?
Yep. So,
and it does feel like the bigger deal, even over AAA, I won't lie.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, AAA would be like like the TNA of the 2000s when they started
That's
it.
harsh. That's a little harsh. Even though that was pretty big, pretty big. But then again, after hearing Stevie on his latest episode and how much money he was saying he was getting paid in TNA, I couldn't believe it, dude. I don't know if you caught that, but that's
Oh
nuts.
yeah, I did. Well, I know I knew. I mean,
Wow.
I was hearing that around that time.
Really?
You got to remember when I broke in, broke in.
Right.
Like I'm some kind of
No, but
But
you did. So you would have heard shit
yeah, okay.
from the boys.
When I first sipped my cup of coffee, TNA was only 3 years old.
Right. That's nuts.
So it's not like, but people were talking about it and you'd hear things, right? So
that's just, yeah. Well, when I heard that, that was just bananas to me. And there's Prof also in the chat, Bob.
I hope he didn't miss the FTR segment.
I hope not either.
But yeah, so I mean they had a match. It was hey, that entrance
man.
though. How about that entrance? How about Místico's entrance, man? Hey, all right.
Dude,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Makes me want to sing right now. I just don't know the lyrics.
But the truth is, it was a slow, methodical type of match, pretty much, dude.
Well, yeah, and it was awkward.
It just didn't feel like, I don't know, man.
Because MJF wasn't going to do lucha and Místico wasn't going to, I mean, Místico can do American wrestling, but it doesn't make him look the best, so.
Right.
Yeah. And it was like, it's like, they're also confused what type of match to have because MJF can't get too much heat because it's supposed to be, Místico's night. And
he done the crotch sort of thing to, when he grabbed his head and went.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was fucked up, bro.
Yeah, that was good. But then Místico can't just beat up MJF the whole time because then his offense doesn't, it's not tailored to that. You know what I mean? So
it was awkward when you put it that way.
Yeah. So it was just, it was an interesting match. Certainly not the worst and better than watching maybe a 14-man tag. That's for sure.
Definitely better than that 14-man tag. Although,
but this is where sometimes we have to take a step back and just look at the most people don't look at wrestling the way we do. So for the fans in there, obviously they're willing to, if they're Lucha Libre fans, they're willing to obviously suspend a lot of disbelief every night.
Wow.
So
and they do.
So this is all about what we're seeing. It's all about is our hero gonna prevail? That's really the only thing they care. They don't care if this spot wasn't smooth or whatever.
No, true. Especially
they really. So it was all about that. But I was wondering that myself. Well, who is going to prevail here? Because to me, it should be simple enough. But you also got the Hurt Syndicate out there with MJF. So it's if MJF has backup of 3 guys like that, how could a babyface win in that situation? They should easily be able to cheat him out of the match. And it wouldn't make sense if he's able to win. So how do you do it? Well, the way they do it is they just have a bunch of people come out and do a schmaz. And I guess Místico won by DQ, even though I could not tell that that's what happened by what happened on the screen. Right. I had to read that later because I didn't get it.
MJF lost, believe it or not, in that match.
They just had a schmaz, and then at the end, they played Místico's music again. So I guess...
And everyone was happy, man. But you're right. You know what? Are we, as a Western wrestling audience base, because I consider, especially all the English-speaking countries, right? They're kind of similar when it comes to the way, we treat wrestling. But, most of the Spanish, all the Latinos that love wrestling, like you said, they're willing to suspend the disbelief as long as their hero wins, and they're just happy. They go home happy. I'm sure, obviously, they know what wrestling is, but they just want to have a good time, you know what I mean? And just not think about, oh, that was like what you said, that was rough, or they botched this or botched that. Unlike all of us, I think we all need to learn to just, like you said, the a la carte thing, we just need to learn to accept it for what it is, and maybe we can enjoy it better that way, right? I mean, And I'm talking about the whole broader fan base. Everyone should stop complaining about bullshit, and maybe you'll be happier watching it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but that's never going to happen. Get real.
But that's not going to happen. Exactly.
Because everybody has to use social media to let you know how much they know.
That's the problem.
And how smart they are.
Right.
So there's not going to be any enjoying of things, except they do enjoy stuff. You just see them pick apart the stuff they don't like, even if it's the exact same thing as something that they do like, you know, somewhere else. Right.
Right. It's true.
I mean, functionally, a lot of this stuff is exactly the same across all companies, but it's just if you like the person or if you like the angle or if you like the whole company or not. That's all that really changes. But you know what? You know who we should all show some love for? Ricochet. Because he's up next in a 4 million pesos match.
That's not even that much money. How much is 4 million pesos, man?
Well, how much was the Battle Royal or the other match that time? $10,000? Was it $10,000?
Wasn't it 100,000?
Was it 100,000?
I think
maybe that's it.
Right.
Maybe this is maybe $100,000 is 4 million pesos. I'm not sure.
Because I know the Mexican peso is not, you know, it's pretty weak compared to other like currencies, obviously. But yeah, regardless, yeah, this is what we got, a 4 million peso on a pole match, pretty much. Ricochet was in the match.
Yep. Also, Hologram. Also, Lio Rush. Also, Máscara Dorada.
Yeah, absolutely. But we don't get a particular one till another tag match.
That's right.
Which we'll get to. The
yeah,
main event.
So, yeah, so this was, it was exactly what you think it was. It was the same thing as the 14-man tag match, except for there was 10 less men. And Hologram continues his winning ways, and he's 4 million pesos richer after he hits the portal bomb on Lio Rush.
Oh, my God. Speaking of Lio Rush, have you seen his...
Whoa. Breaking news. TN Couponer, almost $209,000.
Damn, that's not much.
But it's twice as much, over twice as much as that other match. So
yeah, that's true.
Maybe a Mexico payday is still better than an AEW payday, huh?
Like Cold Blooded said, almost 209,000.
Lovely. All right.
Beautiful.
So anything else to say on the 4 million?
Nah, like I said, man. Again, this match did cool.
Okay.
Wasn't that interesting to me.
Gotcha. Well, how about the CEO, Mercedes Moné, versus Zeuxis?
Zeuxis. Was she a female Zeus?
Yes. Zeuxis.
Zeuxis. God damn it. You know what, dude? This match bored me as well. I'm not going to lie, man. This was very slow for a female match. I don't know, dude. I'm not used to seeing... I don't think they clicked that well, dude. It was a pretty bad match, actually, now that I think about it. It just wasn't good.
Bad.
Yeah.
A little bit bad.
I
mean, the only...
No,
I'm sorry.
Really,
the only good thing that, you know, CMLL had going for it in the women's division is up on Monday Night Raw now. So let's be honest about that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Unfortunately. There's a lot of tacos.
So, yeah, but again, what really matters, the finish. Zeuxis was going for some sort of power slam off the top, but it ended up getting reversed by Moné, and she pinned her, and she is the new CMLL Women's Champion, whatever that's called.
I don't have an idea what it's called. Something Campeon, I guess. Yeah, congratulations to her, man, because this is the only bit that got interesting, because once we see that, we hear good old Tony Storm's, vignette or whatever you want to call it.
Her short film?
Right, a short film.
Her detective noir film. She's dressed like Carmen Sandiego and doing like Humphrey Bogart style, like, yeah.
She was funny. Excuse me. She was definitely funny, and she done it well. But surprise, surprise, she comes from behind, because we see Mia Shinakawa sitting, like, it looked like she was sitting somewhere. And then
she was up in the above the entrance.
Right. And
like she was up on something. Like, hi, I'm over here, and that distracted Moné, and here comes Tony, coming from behind. I like to come from behind Moné. And then the funniest part to me, this is, we talk about a la carte just now, right? My a la carte moment, like my highlight, my best meal, so to speak, of the week was when Tony gave her the German suplex and all the belts that she had flew in the air.
Yeah.
She looked like fucking Sonic the Hedgehog when he gets hit and the rings fly out. Yeah, that was good. Actually hilarious. So if you skipped this whole week, and I don't blame you if you did, go find just that one part where she takes the German suplex and the belts go flying.
That was great. No,
and then you apologize for every bad mouth thing about the CEO you've ever said.
Hey, you know what, dude? Because that was very well done. Also, I want to point out, Tony seemed she was pretty over in Mexico, dude. They were chanting her name.
Yeah, they like Tony.
It's bizarre to me, man. But yeah, good for Mexico, man.
All right. Well, yeah. Tony says, "Let the games begin." So, all right, let's let the games begin. Accent. And by games, I guess we're talking about another all-star 10-person whatever, because here comes Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, the Opps versus the Bucks, Yuta, Mox, and
yeah, I pressed the wrong button then.
The Beast Mortos.
Yep.
He looks good. Different type of gear this time. Look cleaner. I liked Mortos in this match, actually, Vet. Yep. I felt like, he had a big sort of part in this match, except they were booing him, dude. I know he's a heel technically, but come on.
Yeah.
I love Joe though.
Yeah.
And Ospreay, even, funny enough.
Yeah, they like really the people that it's clear that they're supposed to be the stars and the focus.
Right. For sure.
So that makes sense. What didn't make as much sense was, the finish of this match, and I don't know why it had to be this way, but Jon Moxley, right? The out of control lunatic,
right,
who just shoves people left and right. He wins by schoolboying Swerve and pulling the trunks.
What do you want me to tell you, bro?
Nothing. I don't want you to tell me anything. And they try to do another schmaz after this, but Hang Person comes out to put a stop to it.
Yeah, you know what's even sadder, dude? It feels like the momentum is on his side suddenly after this week. I feel like they're going to go with Hangman to come all in. I hope not. I actually want Moxley to win that match, even though I don't care. That's how much I don't care about Hang Person. But this show was kind of meh. Let's be real. Although I will say this, the main event, I know it was another multi-man tag, and I hate those. It flowed better than the previous ones. I'll say that much. I felt like it flowed a lot better than any of the other matches did, man. And that's weird in some ways. It felt like the most AEW match of all the previous matches, if that makes any sense.
I suppose so.
Still, in saying that, it was a multi-man main event, and I don't give a shit about him too much. So
yeah, I will say this. Like I said at the start, as far as, I talked about how, the people were happy to see Hangman, he delivered the promo in Spanish. And, that's what really counts, is that the people in the building were into what was going on. My whole life of watching Lucha Libre, I've struggled to understand the audience, because they'll pop on some stuff, and then I'll see the same stuff later and they won't pop. And I just I really can't, understand it. And as much as Conan says it's different, like, he has yet to explain why it's different. He just says it's different, and we're supposed to just accept that. And I don't get it. So I struggled to understand it. But what I did understand was when the people definitely like something, and there was a lot of stuff on the show they definitely liked. And I bet everybody there felt like they got their money's worth. So
Oh, definitely. They seem pretty pumped, man, throughout the show. Definitely.
so in that aspect, I got to consider Grand Slam a success, whether I could barely be bothered to like fully pay attention to it at all. But everything I saw was the crowd liking what they were seeing for the most part. So unless they were supposed to not, like they were booing something, but yeah. So success, I think. But
it was definitely a success. There's no
just like a
no
lot
doubt
of their
about it.
successes,
No,
they're
it
going to
was.
think they can do it again, and then it won't be as good the next time, and it won't be as good the time after that, and so on until they,
Oh, well, I'm sure they'll go back, obviously, next year. It was definitely a success, man, all the way around. And for what the show was, it did cater to that audience. And it seemed like they enjoyed it for the most part. So, yeah, definitely a success all the way around. It just wasn't really for me. It was just too exhibitionist, if that makes any sense, of a sort of event for me.
well, perhaps Collision is more your speed because we're back in America in Seattle.
Yeah, of all places, right? We went from Mexico to Seattle, and you know what? It was back to normal, I guess, right?
Yeah, and as far as with one important difference, which we'll get to, as far as Professor's comment about this all being a slow burn for
That's the word of the weekend, by the way.
Slow burn. What is this a meme that I missed?
Yeah,
Like, why is
you gotta
everybody
listen
saying
to the Smack Attack for that?
Oh,
one.
okay. So a slow burn for Darby to get the belt. Well, I guess it's a slow burn for Darby getting back down from Everest because this is kind of his home area and he wasn't here. Spoiler. Sorry if you were hoping to see Darby make a return. There was definitely a return on this show, but it wasn't Darby. So
and it was
if you were waiting for Darby, you're just going to have to keep, watching that fuse slowly tick down.
Dude, can I ask? He already did his damn everything, right? He should be back in the States by now, right? You'd think.
You'd think.
So why the hell haven't they brought him back? I mean, he should be back by now. What are they waiting for? He's not injured, as far as I know.
Maybe he is.
Who knows? But
would that stop him though if he was?
Nah.
If he was injured, wouldn't he just roll in there in a wheelchair or
absolutely would.
possibly a
100%.
gurney?
For sure. Also, is Orange Cassidy injured?
Yes, I believe he is.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just wondering. Not that I care, but I'm just saying.
All right. Well, here's what else you're going to care about because we're starting this show with Jon Moxley, right? He's coming from all the way outside. He's outside, and he makes it inside. And his opponent is AR Fox. So you have Mox versus Fox.
Don't tell me this is a strong win for the strong win type of deal. I mean, come on.
I think it's a strong win. We have to know that Hangman Page is in trouble at All In. So Jon Moxley gets a nice strong win over the hometown boy.
Of course he did. It's ridiculous. You can't do this all the time, Tony, for crying out loud. It doesn't work all the time. You know what I mean? This for me was just bullshit. Straight up.
Sounds like a Dr. Seuss match, doesn't it?
Something like that.
I will not wrestle you, John Mox. I will not wrestle AR Fox.
I mean, anyway, it was a decent match for what it was, of course. I mean,
no, it wasn't. It sucked.
Right,
Jon Moxley took every move. Jon Moxley took every move that AR Fox probably has ever done, and maybe a few he thought of in the middle of the match, and then just kicked out of all of it and put him in the choke again. So that's it.
I swear to you, Vet, I don't want to be totally negative. I don't.
Well, don't lie. You can be.
Fight. That's.
It's one thing to be totally negative, and
All right, fine. I just don't want to come across like we just shit it because for the sake of shitting it, because we're not. Believe me when I tell you guys that.
No, we're shitting it because it deserves it, and there's a reason.
Right.
And if you guys ask, I'll explain the reasons. It's no problem.
For sure.
Unlike other people, I can back up everything I say with reasons.
Absolutely can. That's why he's the best in the world.
That's right. So Jon Moxley says he's out of patience with Hang Person and he's tired of seeing him fall short, and he's going to run him out of the business. And if this is a shoot, then I'm all for it. I'm definitely in favor of Jon Moxley here. So, you know, this is where we talk about fair and balanced, analysis, you know, Professor. We're fair. We're very fair here. I hate Jon Moxley. He says he's going to run Hangman out of the business. I don't care if he's working or shooting. I like this promo if he's saying that. So thumbs up. Get him out of here.
I'm all for him, actually. Cold-blooded insert CM Punk emoji.
That's right.
It's true. Absolutely.
Now, you could get a CM Punk emote if you follow me at Opinion Haver on Twitch and you come and hang out and chat. I've got a nice CM Punk doing the straight edge thing for you to signify that I'm the best in the world. So,
how do you do that, by the way?
How do I do what?
Like, how do you use those to be part of you? Like, how do you?
Well, you just make your own little, like, you take a photo or a GIF and you remake it into like a JPEG format, and then you can like put it. You can use like a MS Paint or any of the other like any things that you have, Photoshop, whatever. Twitch? Yeah, you upload it onto the Twitch page from your account, and then you can just whatever. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, you kind of make your own, or you could get somebody to make them for you if you don't know how or whatever. I made all those myself.
Cool. I actually didn't know that. I've always wondered how to do it. But thank you for telling me.
You're welcome. Now, we get a package on Grand Slam catching you up in case you didn't see on Wednesday. Oh yeah, see, Cold-Blooded did the, that's my emote.
That's cool, man. I like it. I never noticed that. That's pretty cool.
Yep, you gotta be on Twitch for it. So, yes. Zane Vicious says, shit I was doing in 2009. Well, damn, it's time for you to do something since then. Oh, I'm John Cena. I'm breaking the fourth wall. All right. So anyway, Adam Cole is standing there with Para Garcia and Bandito, but he does all the talking. And that leads right into a match with those guys versus the Proto Keshta and FTR for an all-star 8-man. And I was thinking right here, Jimmy, this is what I wrote down. This is where all these guys belong. Second match on the Saturday show.
And again,
they finally booked something right.
Of course.
This is exactly where all these guys right here should be. Collision, second match. Not even opening match. Second match.
Second, which is the worst spot you can get. Not only for being on Collision, but being the second match and no one will give a shit about. But again, and neither did I, because can we stop doing this shit? It's too much. It's always happening. Nope. Why?
Nope. We need bodies on television, man. We're paying you guys. We need you out there earning this money. Dude, no free lunches.
Well, stop draining my life, Tony. Please. God.
He can't. He just what he wants to do. So so it is
people in the back.
It is the right spot on the card. Roderick Strong gets shattered by the Shatter Machine. So FTR gets a strong win, I guess. And the sore winners attempt to continue the beating afterwards, and the Outrunners run out and put a stop to it.
Of course they did. And I guess they're next on the chopping block, right? For FTR.
Maybe. I don't know. They're more jacked and tan than FTR. Definitely more over.
I agree. I will say, though, I mean, FTR lately have trying to put a bit of an effort in when it comes to their characters, their heel characters. And Stokely has been, at first I didn't agree with the fit, but it's starting to grow on me. I'll say that much. I'm not just lying. I'm not just saying that. I'm being truthful. They did entertain me last week. This week, not so much.
All right. Well, yeah, because he didn't talk this week.
That's right.
All right, next we have promos. Well, kind of. We have, from one team, we have Tay, Jay, Rosa, and Queen, and they each have a little something to say, Survivor Series style, or, Saturday Night's Main Event style, whatever you want. No, it's Survivor Series style. And the other team is Athena, Tekla, and Megalope. But only Athena does the talking. And the first thing I can say is, thank God Athena's here, because how long has she been gone off of AEW? For quite a few weeks. So, whatever she's been doing over in Ring of Honor, I sadly have not been keeping up with it. I'm sure it's better than everything we're getting on Collision, so it's good to see her back on TV.
You know what? I've been hearing some decent things about Ring of Honor, but again, every time I watch it, it lets me down every time, so I can't go back to it. But yeah,
you can't.
They gotta
one
do
does
more
not
for it, man.
simply watch Ring of Honor. One must scrub through Ring of Honor.
Scrub is an understatement. I actually did that a few weeks ago, and it was just like, eesh. But it was only an hour show. Is that what it is now?
Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 2 hours. It depends how much they tape, when they tape it, and whatever.
Because that was the first time I noticed it was an hour, and I'm like, oh, this is better. 1 hour, perfect. And it still drained it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just drag the slider until you see Athena, and then you stop, and then when she goes, you move it on until you see her again. So
only because there's so much randomness going on with Ring of Honor, I feel like. It just seems so random. Maybe because I haven't been keeping up with the product, but to me, that's how I take it.
Yeah, you're probably right. So last week, we saw, this, I guess supposedly this interview took place right after Grand Slam. And it's Renee and old Six Belts here, which, she just does a promo and says, see you in Texas, bitch. But the problem is, if this was last week, I mean, presumably this would have been after she got suplexed out of all of her belts. So she should have been a little more mad than this. But who knows when they pre-taped it back then. And they probably, for all we know, they didn't even tell her what she was going to be doing later. So she didn't really have the right attitude for this. She should have been a lot more disheveled and angry, in my opinion. But
right, and she wasn't at all. No, you're right. Maybe it was done before even Grand Slam, for Even though they, obviously she knew she was going to become champion. So,
all right. Next match is Shane versus Shane in a battle of the Shanes.
What the hell was up with this match? It was a great match for what it was, but it makes no sense when it's so tough for Swerve to win this match.
Well, it's a strong win, Jimmy. That's why it took him so long.
Is that really a strong win, though, for real?
Yeah, because Shane Taylor is strong.
I love Shane Taylor, man. I really do. But the way they've booked him over the last 2 years, it feels like at this point, he's a total loser, bro. I'm sorry. And he shouldn't be booked that way. He really shouldn't. But that's how they've booked him. So I'm supposed to believe that these two went on a 20-minute barn burner, and that's a strong freaking win for Swerve.
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes. But
either way, dude.
The highlight of this was Tony Schiavone going and putting a side bet, because apparently in the corner, the rest of Shane Taylor Promotions and Prince Nana had like a gambling ring going.
Yeah, so what's up with that?
So Tony Schiavone went over, put some money on Swerve to win, and then went back to sit down
right in the corner of the ring and shit.
Yeah.
While the match was going on, I'm like, what the fuck?
Well,
are they doing?
that was the highlight,
right?
Because we already know what's going to happen in the match.
Exactly.
And if we know what's going to happen, it's probably better if we don't watch it, because we have to once again watch Shane Taylor figure out a way how to make this shit make sense. Or even if, all kidding aside, I say this every time Shane Taylor has a match. If this match happens after Shane Taylor's been beating the guys he should be beating, then it actually is a strong win for Swerve.
Absolutely.
But if you just beat the guy that always gets beat, no matter who it is, it's not that strong of a win, but they're still trying to book it like it's a strong win. And by the way, what is Swerve got for All In? It's just going to be him versus Ospreay, isn't it?
Is it being official? Is it officially booked, that match?
No, but what else could it be? Because they're the only guys that have nothing to do, yet they keep running into each other somehow or another, whether they're partners or whatever. So Will Ospreay's trying to be the peacekeeper and make everybody friends.
So dumb, right?
And Swerve is like, no, I'm not going to be your friend or whatever, but he has really no potential match for All In. Ospreay has nothing for All In, so It's just going to end up being those guys, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you think so? Yeah, 100%. It would be them two, 100%. Even though I still don't understand how Ospreay is not the guy to be facing Moxley, but it is what it is.
Yeah, they did what they did. Coldblood says, "Where's that robe that Nana got so worked up?" Well, he stopped bringing it to work, obviously, after what happened with Ricochet.
Yeah, come on, man.
It's probably safe at home, locked up somewhere.
Absolutely, 100%. T and Cooper says, "I predict Ospreay versus Swerve to be a #1 contender for the title at All In." Nah,
that sounds just lazy enough to work. But anyway, to finish off this match, Swerve stomped Shane Taylor on an apron, hit him with other stuff, and then hit him with a house call to win. So
right, strong win.
Out of respect for Shane Taylor, he had to hit him with 27 things right there at the end to make sure he was beaten. So I'll give him that. They definitely kept Shane Taylor strong here.
Of course they did. But put all that shit aside, it was a pretty decent match between the two of them. I'll say that much, but it's hard. You know
Professor Hologram beat Shane Taylor quicker than Swerve. Well, look, Swerve ain't undefeated, Professor. So there's a reason for that. All right. Here's the second runner-up to Moné the Hedgehog and her suplex with the belts. Toni Storm has finally done a promo that I could fully 100% get behind.
This was good, man. No, really.
I am not some other motherfucker. That's how you cuss on TV, John Cena.
True. She did well, man. I like it. I liked it, man. I'm actually pretty intrigued. As a matter of fact, Event, I'm gonna dare say I'm more intrigued for this match at All In than any other match right now, dude. For real.
What can you say?
These two have actually done pretty well. Right. I'm dead serious about it, man. They're doing pretty good for the build to this match.
All right. So we know what to fast forward to when it comes time to review All In.
For sure.
But we're not going to fast forward this because it's Willow Briscoe Graham versus MXM Valkyrie.
This was ridiculous, bro. Hated this
But it wasn't long.
Sure.
And it had Mark Briscoe.
It did, but you don't put Briscoe in this joke of a match, man, because then what are you supposed to think of him as? You know what I mean?
You put him in every match.
Right, I get that. But come on, man. Does this really...
Hey, anyway. You're overlooking the great part about this. Mark Briscoe picks up a strong win.
Of course. For what, though?
For a win.
For a win. Oh, man.
Yeah, Hologram is 98. He's Goldberg 98. Move over, Chris Sabin. We got Hologram now. No, man, we needed this because the rest of the show was like, this is the thing. This match was a little bit goofy.
It was goofy, bro.
Just a little bit, though. Because, of course, MXM does spots like that. But compared to the stuff that's trying to be... Compared to the stuff that's trying to be serious, though, somehow this is less goofy than that. Like, am I really supposed to take that all-star 8-man tag at the beginning seriously? I'd rather watch this.
It was...
Hey, look, let's come on, Jimmy. Come on, be real. The all-star with Para Garcia and Bandito for some reason, or the FTR and Callis family.
Definitely
See?
No, for real. Because I like MXM. That's the thing. I actually am a fan of theirs. They entertain me. But
yeah, Willow's fine.
Yeah, Willow can...
And Mark Briscoe's great, and Hologram's undefeated.
Sure, but I don't like Briscoe in this environment, man. Everyone else can be in this environment. It can suit them because... they're good at playing the goof. But Mark Briscoe, I just feel like...
he's a little goofy.
No, he is. Don't get me wrong. He can be, especially. But do you think he's happy that he'd be getting this type of shit? Then again, he's probably happy for being on television every week, right? So...
yeah, they keep using him.
That's true.
They could definitely use him better, but a wrestler is always just happy to show up at the building and not have to just sit there all day. So,
oh yeah, that's positive. Yes, Zane.
Yes, he won. Froggy Bow on Mansoir. Lexi is with Chris Statlander, and then Yuta comes in. He's like, "Hey, Chris Statlander," and she shoves him, and he goes flying into a guardrail somewhere, and she drops her phone, and then she turns around to pick it up, and here's John Moxley, and he picks up Chris Statlander's phone, and he stares at her, and she's like, "What do I do?"
What a tough
and then he
man.
gives her a piece of advice, which is, don't let anyone tell you who you are, or some shit like that, and gives her her phone back.
Do you think I can see Statlander joining this crew for some weird reason? Because she would kind of suit the group, I guess, in some ways. Even though I like Shafir being on her own, she could do with a bit of muscle on her side too.
You could have tag matches.
Sure, why not? Jeez, that's a bad thing. But yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
That's the $1 million question, lad, Brad. Are we going to get the return of the alien? Probably not, though. Never.
Boop.
They should have never gotten away from that. That was how she was established. I know it's corny still, but
she's tried a bunch of stuff, and I don't know, I'm not really sure which one worked the best, but she keeps trying.
Because is she really any different? That's why the thing about her and as the alien, she never spoke really initially. The real sort of alien character of hers at first, she never spoke. She just done the finger bullshit. And then she started talking, and that's when it started going downhill, man.
The good thing about having an alien gimmick is that anything you do wrong, you could just blame on being an alien.
Right, and you know what I mean?
Like if you have a bad promo or you blow a spot in the ring, all you could say is, "Well, I'm not from Earth," so
exactly. She's from Andromeda, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now she's from fucking from New York somewhere.
All right. So Shivani brings out Don Callis. Don Callis brings out Okada. They look at the footage of Kenny Omega spewing up Jello and laugh at it. They say Kenny has no friends. Nobody's gonna, help him. Don Callis got a whole family. Nobody's gonna help Kenny. Mark Briscoe comes out. He's like, "Hey, I'm Kenny's friend, and I'm not his only friend." And then here comes the big return. Nope, it's not Kenny Omega. It is
Kota Ibushi.
Yeah,
that was big, dude. That shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it kind of he looks good too for once, dude. I feel like he hasn't looked this good in years, bro. Then again, what has he been doing recently? Nothing.
I guess training.
I'm glad, dude, because he looks great, man. This is the first time I've seen. Because think about the decline of Kota Ibushi, dude. I mean,
well, I think let's just put it out there. I'm pretty sure that he, at some point, probably decided he needed to get off the gas because he was getting hurt all the time.
Well, yeah, and he was on the gas pretty heavily. I mean, when you think about it.
So he's trying to maintain like that incredible physique he had without it, and this is what we're gonna get. This is probably as good as it's gonna get because, it's hard to do that. Let's just say.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he looked good, dude. He really did, man. Because you notice even his face. I don't want to sound. I'm pretty sure you and I spoke about this many, probably a couple of years back on this very show where his face had changed even, dude. If you know what I mean. He started looking different, whatever he was going through. Because there was a point where I don't want to say he lost the plot, dude, but he kind of did. I mean, he was saying some weird shit online, like people were after him and all sorts of bizarre just shit, and he snapped, dude.
Yeah, who knows? He's always been weird. You could tell he's not right in the head anyways. he's
not,
definitely
man.
got some sort of, he's on the spectrum somewhere, or he's
Yeah,
been concussed into it.
Thank you for saying, because I didn't want to say it, but yeah, that was perfectly put.
Right. So anyway, regardless, here he comes in, he takes out Josh Alexander, and then him and Okada go at it, and he takes him out too, kind of. Don Callis pulls him away, like, no, not now, after he already took a bunch of kicks. I thought this looked pretty bad, even by Kota Ibushi later standards. I think it didn't look good, but hey, whatever.
He's back. I used to be such a big fan of his, man. I used to enjoy his matches, but I'm so indifferent now. But I'm happy that he looks a lot better than he did the last time we saw him. So I don't know what this means. All I do know is apparently he is signed to AEW, right? As far as we know.
I'm pretty sure he has been this whole time.
Right. And he's done what? 3-4 matches?
Yeah, because he was hurt when he came in immediately.
Right.
And he's spent a lot of time injured in the past 5 years. He's
probably been in psych homes too and psych wards and whatnot because shit. But like Scotty said, why would you bring Kota on Collision? Well, why not?
Yeah, exactly. It was time. First possibility maybe that he had a chance to be anywhere. Who knows? But I don't know if Jimmy is frozen or if my internet is acting up, but everything appears fine, so I'll just keep going. Next is the Learning Tree versus the Workhorsemen, joined in progress. It's Jimmy, Liz says. Thank you, Liz. So yeah, we come back from a break and this fight is already going on, but then here comes Christian with the Patriarchy, and he has a big announcement, which is that I guess he and his son Nick are going to become the first ever father and son AEW Tag Team Champions. At which point, Big Bill questions the lineage of Nick Wayne because apparently his mom is, let's just say, very popular. And he challenges Christian to a fight right now, but Christian declined the challenge. Also, whatever happened to the Workhorsemen during this segment? They just snuck out, I guess, during all this. So, but I guess that's not an important. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about what happened to the Workhorsemen. And I'm sure no one does worry. So, all right. Jimmy says his power went out for a second. That would explain it. All right. Well, hopefully, if he says for a second, that means he knows it's coming back. It's already back, and he just has to get back in. So we'll just wait a second for him. Not to continue reviewing the show, but wait a second. So let's see, where are my notes? And so apparently last week, Lexi caught Five Tool and Daddy going through a little bit of frustration there about, now Bowens has been on a losing streak and what's he going to do? And is this, is this something that Billy Gunn can help with? Does he need to move on? Who knows? Maybe scissoring time is over. I don't know. Or were they even scissoring since he's had the new gimmick? I don't know. I guess I haven't really noticed. Then Ricochet comes out to commentary for Jet Speed versus the Gates of Agony. And I bet you're all just wondering, who out of the Gates of Agony and Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight, who's going to come out on top? I know you're all wondering. You're sitting there wondering. I'm keeping you in suspense. I don't want to just come out and say it. I think you already know. TN Couponer says Billy Gunn wrestled in OVW in a tag team match. Playa. What year was that? Yeah, that's right. The small guys won. And Ricochet was rightly protesting their cheating all the time during the match. He was saying how it's not legal for two people to be in the ring doing stuff to one guy. And, so he was protesting it. But Labrat says, get that boy Speedball some darn shoes. Well, he doesn't want the shoes, Labrat. Don't you think they know? He just refuses to wear the shoes. He'll wear the kick pads, though. That he'll do. So yeah, I mean, once again, Ricochet, a highlight of the show, even when he's not actually in the ring, which somehow even better sometimes. So let's show some love for it. And let's show some love for his obvious One Piece influence, because he's talking about looking for a crew and he's wearing a Navy Admiral jacket with his arms out of the sleeves. So he's over with me for that too. Speedball isn't a boy? He's a little bit of a boy. He's the size of a boy. Like a kind of a big boy, but not like, but a smaller than a small man. Yeah. Okay, well, looks like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. And it's an all-star 8-woman match. We already saw the men, and now it's time for the women to get the main event spot. Let's see. So, let's see here. This was Ty Mello, Anna Jay, Thunder Rosa, Queen Aminata versus Athena, Tekla, Megan Bayne, and Penelope Ford. So you can imagine, this just went into a scientific classic right at the beginning. It reminded me of Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero in ECW. No, maybe Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn in ECW. Definitely something from ECW, the original ECW, not the WWE ECW. But yes, they definitely put on a clinic. Anna Jay is just fabulous. She reminds me of like early 90s era Bret Hart, where everything is just so crisp, clean, fluid, perfect. Definitely nobody gonna get hurt. Any of the stuff they're doing. Billy Starks is out there, the Minion. She's out there. Still kind of like a little bit weird in her relationship with Athena, but I like the dynamic still. And yes, Tekla already in bullshit tag team matches. So that push lasted 2 weeks, right? And one of the opponents was even in this match. So her and the Queen, you know, like when they kind of like go at each other, are we supposed to be like, oh, look who it is for last week? Also, I gotta say, that spot where they're trying to like, who was it? It was it Queen Aminata and Penelope? They were like climbing the opposite posts, and then they go to like jump on the rest of the people who are just fighting. They're just fighting in a small crowd of people, and then they break up so that the other three, like three each, can go catch the one that's jumping off the top. Yeah. Yeah, at least Athena got on TV. That's true. Coupon, you want to see Bane versus Athena down the road? That'd be good. Then you got to put one of them over. Isn't that bitch buried on Naboo? No. That's Queen Amidala. This is Queen Aminata. It's totally different. It's two completely different letters. So, that's what's going on there. So I'm trying to buy as much time as I can by talking about this, because I already would have brushed over this and we probably would have been in the plugs by now. But I'm trying to give Jimmy a chance, which some might say I've been doing for years. But we're just waiting to see if he can actually get back in here. So the interesting thing was that for the finish here, Athena was laid out by Rosa and ready to be pinned, and the referee was distracted. And here comes Red Velvet out of nowhere. And now Red Velvet has like one of those nose rings. And so here comes Red Velvet as she slides her championship belt, whatever that is. What is that? The Ring of Honor Women's TV Championship? I don't know. She slides that belt over to Athena. Now, Athena was just knocked out and pinned, like that was about to be a 3 count, right? As soon as the belt slides in the ring, she comes back to life, gets up, grabs the belt, nails Thunder Rosa, beats Thunder Rosa. 1, 2, 3. So your winners, Athena's team. And that's how we end Collision. Oh,
jeez. I don't know what happened there, dude. I had a power outage for like for 2 seconds, literally. Everything turned off for a second, and then I thought my computer was fucked when it was turning back on. Jesus Christ. And now I'm all zoomed.
It seems suspicious, the timing that you just didn't want to see the rest of the show, which I don't blame.
No. Sorry about that, man. Jeez. I don't know what, like I said, there was a flash. Power went out for like a second, literally. And then my computer's telling me to enter the Windows disk again. I thought Windows got wiped for a moment. Thank God I reset it again and it was fine. But yeah, Jesus Christ.
Well, we're done here. Collision's over. Yeah, I finished the rest of the show. You know, even with trying to extend and pull the time just to give you a chance to get back on, but I still finished it. So nothing else to say, but tell the people where they can find us.
Perfect. Well, you can find us right here on Hameen Media Group's YouTube channel, of course, every week with numerous shows. For example, I don't know if you promoted the other shows yet, Vet.
Nothing yet.
Well, let's start with Limpin' and Easy. What days is it on, actually, specifically, Vet?
New episodes every Wednesday.
There we go. So look out for that. Also, I know the times are all over the place when it comes to wrestling with Rip Rogers.
Every Friday. Concrete time of noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Oh, there you go. Nicely put. And, of course, the next level wrestling review with yourself and Big Ray Hernandez every Wednesday mornings at what time was it? 11 a.m.
That's right. 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific.
That's right. And did I mention Stevie Richards' show?
No, but that's every Friday as well.
There you go.
Fresh new episode, hot out the oven for the Stevie Richards show. And of course, you have the Impact Attack every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern.
There we go. And of course, the Wreckage will be back to our normal time slot of 11 a.m. Eastern next week, every Sunday mornings, of course. And of course, look out for the Smack Attack with myself and the Professor. And of course, I Like a Raw with myself and Big Ray Hernandez every Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. So look out for that. And I think that's a wrap. So in saying that, thank you to everyone that gave us a super sticker and everyone, of course, for joining us. And we're out. I am Jimmy T. He is my co-host, the best in the world, Jamie the Vet Williams. And you've been listening and watching the
Wreckage.
Peace.